Okay. So I need everybody to get as close as you can because we got a quick exercise. So people around the room, scoot in, come find a spot. If you're in the back, get out of the back. We're not Baptists. Come to the front. All right, cool. So you guys know our good friend Ryan Westbrooks, right? Okay. And me and him broke up since he got a job and we never talked anymore. And so we're just going to take a quick selfie. And it's a selfie because I'm taking it. Okay? So we're going to do that really quick. And then I'm going to text it to him and then we'll get started, okay? Cool. All right, ready? No, we got this. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right. Hold on, I got to text him real quick. Okay, cool. We'll go ahead and get started, and I do want to go ahead and make sure we've got this clarification. This will not be a talk about mine and Eller's credit card debates. We're going to leave that off the table.
College tuition?
Maybe college tuition, okay. Maybe. All right, so every time I get on stage to talk, number one, I'm a little nervous because I've got the same heels Amy had on, and there's a crack here. So, but I get a little nervous, and I think I always will get a little bit nervous to be on stage. Anybody else get nervous? Yeah. Okay, I think everybody that spoke this week, yeah, a little bit. So like my wife picks out my clothes normally, but I didn't let her pick out this shirt. And I told her, I was like, I want a black shirt. She goes, no, but you look good in like blues and red. And I said, but here's the deal, like if I get nervous, I'm gonna start sweating. And so black, you guys can't tell, okay? So, but I get nervous, not because like I'm afraid of speaking in public or being in front of people, but y'all, I grew up in Midland, Texas. Anybody know where Midland is? Okay, cool. So you go to Dallas. If you don't know, you go to Dallas, you turn west, and you drive, and you drive. You drive a little bit more, and when it stops being green and starts turning brown, you're gonna keep driving. You drive a little bit more, and then when you see some high school football, and you smell oil, you've reached Midland. And so this is where I grew up. Well, they say you learn English in Midland, but it's maybe a variation of English. So there's no vowels, and they shorten the syllables, and they cram all these words closer together. Okay, so it's a kind of a different language. There's a couple words you might have heard. Fixin' to? Fixin' to? Okay, so that's like your spouse asks you to do something, you just say, honey, I'm fixin' to. Okay, so you've all heard that one, but have you heard clone? Clone is like when you're about to go out on a date, and you need to smell good, so you spray on some clone. Okay, maybe directly. Heard directly? Directly is like when you're playing Monopoly, you roll the dice, and you move the spaces, and you land on that spot that says go directly to jail. So that's directly. One of my favorites, since I'm, the money guy, is collect. Collect is when you lend somebody money, and they don't pay you back, so you got to call them to collect it. So this is kind of the language that I grew up with, and I didn't really realize it until I moved away from Midland, but being a public speaker, I didn't recognize that that's how I talked. So when I'm up here, I'm being very slow and careful and picking my words carefully. And because it's important that you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth, right? Okay, so that's the first reason that public speaking is hard for me. But the second reason is there are some really good people at speaking now. Like 15, 20 years ago, maybe not quite as good. But now, like we just had a full day of it. And I get to close. And since I close, you can turn that off. I'm not going to stick to that timer. I'm the last guy. So, the wedding people, you guys can leave. Everybody else. But, y'all, there's some really good people that talk and speak for a living. And they're funny. And so audiences have this expectation now that's been raised that you got to tell jokes. You got to make people laugh. And, y'all, that's a problem for me. Because I talk about money for a living. Like there's nothing funny about direct deposit, dividends, Roth IRAs. There's nothing funny about that stuff. Y'all, a good, fun Friday night for me is sitting in front of an Excel spreadsheet trying to figure out what's wrong with my pivot table. Like that is awesome. I know, I'm such a nerd. Like, I'm just a big nerd. I know what a pivot table is. So anybody else know what a pivot table is? There's like four in the whole room. Y'all, I tell dad jokes. I tell dad jokes. I play on Excel. I look at numbers and spreadsheets, and I'm in bed by 10 usually. Like, I'm just a big nerd. I used to think I was cool. And like, I've embraced now that I'm a nerd. Hold on, my water's back here. I've embraced now I'm a nerd, I get it, I understand it, but I used to think that I was cool. And if I look back on those formative years in my life, I recognize, I've kind of always been a nerd. I just kind of hid it from myself. I have the same dry mouth syndrome. I don't know what happened. He passed it over to me. So, in those formative years, let's say like 6th grade, up until that point, I had everybody fooled. I was cool Casey. Friends loved me. I was the cool guy. And then in 6th grade, my school decided to participate in the spelling bee. Anybody else do the spelling bee? Yeah, spelling bee. So I'm ready for the spelling bee. And we go down, and y'all, I got a secret. I can actually spell really well. I'm good at spelling. So I was excited for the spelling bee, but I'm cool Casey. My friends don't know that I can spell. So we get up on stage, my friends come up to the mic, and I watch them drop like flies, like they're terrible. And I'm up there, and I go round 3, round 4, round 5, and all of a sudden I'm looking out kind of like this, and I see my classmates, and like their faces go, hey, I thought Casey was cool. Like, he's a nerd. Like, you can just see this dawning on their face. And so I get up, and it's my turn. We're like in the 10th round, and it's me and my buddy Rajiv Pinmecha. That's no joke. I'm not making that up. His name was Rajiv. And so I get up. It's my turn to talk, my turn to spell the word. They say symptom. I'm like, symptom, I got this. Here's a proverb. And it says, the rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. And if you're in debt, you're a slave. But what's worse is if you have a dream and you're in debt and you're a slave, your dreams are held captive too. So think about this. Did anybody read the post I wrote on John's site yesterday? Okay, well, I'll sum it up for you real quick then. Imagine how much easier it is to jump from a day job to a dream job if you have no debt. A good, healthy, like 3, 4, 5, 6 month emergency account. Your dream job has been paying you just enough money to cover like food and shelter. How much easier is it to jump? You see, because a lot of times I think we get out on the shore and we look out in the water and we see everybody having fun. We're like, I want to be out there. I want to get on a ship and I want to be the captain. So we want to jump and we want to go out and do those things. And we haven't built a dock. And the boat's nowhere close. It's way out there. And we jump. And we haven't spent the time to build that out. And so sometimes the best thing you can do for your dream in the long term is, in the short term, right now, work on your finances. And put your money in a position where it becomes one of the biggest contributors to your dream instead of the biggest inhibitor for you chasing your passions. I went to the START conference last year in September with several of you. And one of the most impactful moments for me was when they turned out the lights. Yes. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, we got these little finger lights. These little LED like lights that fit on your finger. Here, Laura has one. I love that you just have that on standby. All right, so Laura has this light. And we've got a room full of people that have these lights, and they turn off just like this. The screens go black. You don't have to do that. And John says, I'm going to put some words on the screen. And they're voices of fear and doubt that you've probably told yourself. And what I want you to recognize is in this room of 700 or 800 people that you're not alone. And it was supposed to be this impactful moment where people recognized that they weren't alone in their fears. And so the first words come up on the screen and it says, I'm not talented enough. Anybody ever felt that? I'm not talented enough to chase after my dream. And several dozen hands go up across the crowd. And it says, I'm too old to chase my dream. And about 20% raise their hands. Then it says, I'm too young to chase my dream. About another 20% go up. And like there's this perfect sweet spot right between like 27 and 30. That's where you got to be. But then this popped up. It said, I don't have enough money to chase my dream. And y'all, I'm sitting up in the balcony, and this room lit up faster than a Christmas Eve candlelight service. Like, I'm pretty sure Dave Ramsey even raised his hand. I'm just kidding, that dude's rich. And I'm sitting up in the balcony, and y'all, it broke my heart. Because I'm looking out, and I see 700, 800 people that say, I've got this passion, this desire, something burning deep within me that I want to start and I want to do and I want to jump and I want to leap and I want to sail on the seas. But I'm not going to because my money won't let me. I don't have enough. I don't make enough. I can't. You know, we need authors and teachers and entrepreneurs and business leaders. We need missionaries. We need graphic designers. We need people with passions to be passionate and to be awesome. Something I found, if you know my story, we avoided bankruptcy, but barely. And what I found is that broke people have a really difficult time helping other broke people. There's far too many hungry kids and homeless widows and thirsty children around this world for people, good people, with passions and dreams like you and like me, to not have enough money to be able to help them. Yeah. So, we need your dream. Kevin, you summed it up beautifully, man. We need it. The world needs you. We need you to be awesome. So work hard now. Put your finances in a position where they can be the best friend of your dream instead of the biggest inhibitor for you. We need you, we need your dream, and we need you to be awesome. Thank you.